Ever been thirsty in Switzerland and thought, I'll just grab a bottle of water? Well, hold that thought, because you might be in for a surprise. What if I told you that in this land of pristine lakes and alpine springs, a cold can of beer can actually be cheaper than a bottle of water? It sounds crazy, right? But stick with me, because today we read diving deep into the weird and wonderful economics of Swiss supermarkets to uncover how this is possible. Is it a myth, a traveler's tall tale, or a bizarre reality? We're going to break down the prices, explore the reasons, and give you the ultimate guide to staying hydrated or happily buzzed without breaking the bank in one of the world's most expensive countries. So, grab your reusable bottle and maybe a beer koozie, because this is a side of Switzerland you've probably never seen before. First things first, let's set the scene. You've just landed in Zurich or Geneva. You're wandering through the stunningly clean streets, and you decide to pop into a local supermarket, like a Coop or a Migros, to grab some essentials. You're thirsty. Your eyes scan the drinks aisle. You see rows of sparkling mineral water, beautifully bottled, sourced from the Alps, and right next to it, you see rows of beer crisp, golden, and inviting. You pick up a standard 1.5-liter bottle of water. The price tag? Let's say it's around 1 Swiss franc. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less. Now, you glance over at the beer. A 50 centiliter can of a popular domestic brand like Feldschlösschen or Cardinal. You check the price, and there it is. It might be 1 franc, or even less, sometimes as low as 60 or 70 rappen. Your brain does a quick calculation. Wait a minute. Ounce for ounce, or milliliter for milliliter, the beer is looking like a bargain. How on earth can this be? Is Swiss water secretly made of liquid gold? Is the beer just bad? Let's get to the bottom of this. To understand this price paradox, we need to talk about 3 different kinds of water in Switzerland. First, and most importantly, is tap water. Swiss tap water is legendary. It's some of the cleanest, safest, and best-tasting tap water in the entire world. It flows freely from public fountains all over the cities and towns. You can literally walk up to a decorative fountain in the middle of a square, fill up your bottle, and drink it without a second thought. The cost? Virtually zero. This is the ultimate life hack for anyone visiting Switzerland on a budget. Always carry a reusable water bottle. It will save you a small fortune. So, if amazing water is free, why does anyone buy bottled water? Well, convenience is a big factor. Maybe you forgot your bottle, or you're out for a hike and there are no fountains around. This brings us to our second type of water, supermarket bottled water. When you buy that bottle from the shelf, you're not just paying for the water itself. You're paying for the plastic bottle, the label, the transportation to get it to the store, the bottling plant's overhead, the marketing, and the supermarket's profit margin. All these little costs add up. While Switzerland is a water-rich country, the infrastructure and logistics for bottling and selling it still cost money. So even a basic bottle of store-brand water will have a price tag, typically ranging from around 60 rappen to 2 Swiss francs for a large bottle. And then there's the third type of water, restaurant water. This is where things get really expensive. If you sit down at a cafe or restaurant and order a bottle of water, be prepared for sticker shock. That same bottle that costs 1 franc in the supermarket could now set you back anywhere from 5 to 8 francs, or even more at a fancier place. Why the huge markup? It's part of the restaurant's business model. They're not just selling you water. They're selling you the experience, the service, the table, the ambience. So, when comparing prices, it's crucial to distinguish between buying from a shop and ordering at a restaurant. Now, let's turn our attention to the star of our show, the humble can of supermarket beer. Swiss people love their beer, and while it might not be as famous as German or Belgian beer, they have a solid domestic brewing industry. Big breweries are incredibly efficient. They produce beer on a massive scale, which drives the cost per unit way down. They have streamlined their production, packaging, and distribution to a fine art. Furthermore, taxes on standard strength domestic beer in Switzerland are relatively low compared to taxes on spirits or wine. This combination of efficient mass production and moderate taxation means that a basic no-frills can of lager can be sold in a supermarket for a surprisingly low price. They're often sold in multi-packs, making the per-can price even lower. It's not uncommon to find a six-pack of a domestic brand on sale for under 5 francs. That's less than a franc per can. So let's put it all together. You're standing in the supermarket aisle. On one hand, you have a bottle of water that has costs associated with bottling, branding, and transport. On the other hand, you have a can of beer produced with extreme efficiency by a major brewery. The result is that they can often land on the shelf at a very similar and sometimes identical price point. In many cases, a 50 cl can of the cheapest beer will indeed be cheaper than a 50 cl bottle of the fancier branded water. It's a simple matter of production scale versus packaging and branding costs. But does this mean you should start chugging beer instead of water to save money? Absolutely not. Remember the golden rule. Tap water is king. It's free, it's everywhere, and it's fantastic. The beer cheaper than water scenario is really just a fascinating quirk of the retail market. It applies specifically to cheap domestic beer cans versus purchased bottled water in a supermarket setting. It's a great fun fact to tell your friends, but it's not a practical hydration strategy, especially if you're hiking in the Alps. Imagine trying to quench your thirst with lager while climbing a mountain. It wouldn't end well. Let's do a quick price recap to make it crystal clear. Option 1, your best friend. Tap water from a fountain or tap. Cost, 0. Option 2, the convenience choice. A 1.5-liter bottle of private label water from a supermarket. Cost, around 0.60 to 1.50 CHF. Option 3, the surprising contender. A 50 cl can of basic domestic beer from the same supermarket. Cost, often around 1 CHF, sometimes less. Option 4, the tourist trap. A small bottle of water in a restaurant. Cost, 5 to 8 CHF. So, as you can see, the statement beer is cheaper than water is technically true in a very specific context. A cheap can of beer from a supermarket can easily cost less than a bottle of water bought from that same store or from a kiosk or restaurant. This phenomenon isn't entirely unique to Switzerland either. You can find similar situations in other European countries with strong brewing traditions and high-quality public water, like Germany or the Czech Republic. It highlights how market forces, production efficiency, and consumer habits shape the prices of everyday goods in ways we might not expect. It's less about water being expensive and more about mass-produced beer being surprisingly cheap. So next time you're in Switzerland, feel free to marvel at this economic curiosity. Grab a cheap and cheerful beer to enjoy with your dinner if you like. But when it comes to staying hydrated throughout the day, do what the locals do. Find the nearest fountain and fill up your reusable bottle for free. It's the smartest, healthiest, and most budget-friendly choice you can make. So the mystery is solved. Yes, a can of beer can be cheaper than a bottle of water in Switzerland, but only in the supermarket aisle. It's a battle between the logistics of bottling water and the sheer efficiency of brewing beer. But the undisputed champion of Swiss hydration will always be the free, delicious water flowing from the tap. What do you think? Have you ever encountered a strange price difference like this on your travels? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your stories. Thanks so much for watching. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into Swiss quirks, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure. Until next time, stay curious.